Greetings.
What is up, you guys? This is All Danny Day 1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you a build breakdown for Doctor Strange. So let's go ahead and look at his traits real quick. So fighting and intelligence are his two main attributes. His base damage increase is, or whatever his base damage stat increase is, cooldown powers that are increased by 25%. Mysticism is I guess the resource trait. So his primary resource is called mana, or mana, whatever you want to call it. Mana is it constantly regenerates, and then your secondary resource is mystic energy. Cooldown powers generate mystic energy. When mystic energy reaches full, cooldown powers will instead spend 2 mystic energy to reduce the cooldown and mana cost to 0. Ancient training, deflect chance is increased by 3%. Deflect rating and dodge rating are increased by 20%. Those are your two main defensive stats. Deflect rating and dodge rating gets a base of 600. So on to the build. So this build is different from most people's builds. I don't use Daggers of Daviroth, and I don't use the Crimson Bands of Sidorak, and I don't use Astral Projection or Images of Ikron or the Signature. So I use Fangs of Farla because you restore mana on hit, you get 25 on hit. Seven Sons of Cinnabus, or whatever it's called, because it's a 20% crit chance and a 50% crit damage. So that right there is kind of like a hit or miss type of deal. Flames of the Faltine, Icy Tendrils of Ichthalon, Demons of Denak, Mystic Shift, which is your dash, Seal of Vishanti, and Shield of Seraphim. So, obviously, like I said, for Fangs of Farla, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm only using this because of the mana restore. Seven Sons of Cinnabus, I'm using this because of the crit chance and the crit damage that it has just for this ability itself. If not, if anything, I would probably use Daggers of Daviroth, or maybe Vapors of Voltor. You know, doesn't really matter too much. Or even Crimson Bands of Sidorak, because it immobilizes the enemies, and it does a small little bit of damage over time. Flames of the Faltine. This is really nice. It does nice damage over time as well, which is something that I love having, is damage over time. But the talent it also has is, it says enemies are pulled towards the center of the effect. So it just pulls your enemies in the middle of it, which is really nice to have. Icy Tendrils of Ichthalon. The damage is actually really good, but the thing about this is with the talent active, it summons 2 icy golems. So you definitely want to have this, because those ice golems are going to help you out a lot with damage. Demons of Danak, damage over time is again, and it also heals you per hit as well. Seal of Vishanti, you get 2 max charges. The original version of this is it would drop a field that'll give you, I think, like 20% damage reduction and 20% base damage increase or something like that. But with the talent for this, whatever, you get 2 charges that explodes on the enemy, which does the 33,000 to 49,000 damage. And the other talent also summons 2 like gorilla looking beasts. Mystic Shift is your dash ability. That actually does a lot of damage, 10,000 to 15,000 damage. And my base damage is actually, it's not even high. So, but yeah, it's a good ability to have. It's always good to have a dodge ability. Shield of Seraphim. Health gained, you get 2800. Deflect chance plus 50%, and the duration is 3 seconds. With the talent for Shield of Seraphim, it applies rapid healing. So rapid healing is definitely going to save you a bunch. So Mystic Rejuvenation, Upon reaching maximum mystic energy cooldown, powers cast within 3 seconds will critically hit. Health gained, you gain 25% of your max health, and then you also restore 25% of your max mana. The second row, I went with Benevolent Seraphim. Shield of the Seraphim applies rapid healing and protected duration 3 seconds. Buff effect, rapid healing, health gain, 20% of your max health per second. So that's for 3 seconds, so you get 60% of your max health. Buff effect, protected, damage absorbed is up to 2003, 10% of your max health. Flame and Frost is the one I went with. Flames of the Faultine pulls enemies into its area of effect. Icy Tendrils of Icthalon calls forth Bruiser Golem for 12 seconds. Flames of the Faultine does 10% more damage. Icy Tendrils of Icthalon does 10% more damage. Bruiser Golem stats gets 300% of your own health, and it also gets 70% damage reduction, just like every other summon. Bruiser Golem summon limit is up to 3. Sub-zero smash damage, it does 14,750 to 22,125 damage. Next one you're going to use is either Sun and Shadow, or wait, always critically hit and its critical and brutal damage effects are doubled. Yeah, so you can either use Sun and Shadow or you can use Seal of Hoggoth. So let's go ahead and read Seal of Hoggoth. Seal of Vashanti calls forth a Dominated Mindless One for 12 seconds. Dominated Mindless One stats gets 200% health of your max health, 70% damage reduction, and then Dominated Mindless One summon limit is 3. They do 2 different abilities, Mindless Punch and Cyclopean Blast. So this is a really good ability to have as well if you're for summons. Sun and Shadow, it says 7 Sons of Synergies always critically hits, and its critical and brutal damage effects are doubled. Demons of Dinok now transfers to another nearby enemy when the target is defeated. 7 Sons of Synergies does 10% more damage. Demons of Dinok does 10% more damage. So both of these are really good. This one summons, this one does more damage. So whichever, you can go ahead and pick your poison. Seal of Oster is the one I went with. So Seal of Oster no longer provides buff effects, but now explodes after a short duration. Seal of Vishanti has a minus 2 seconds less of a cooldown, and it also gains 2 extra charges. And I think, yeah, that's all for the talents. For Synergies, I'm actually going to reset my Synergies. What is he again? He's Fight and Intelligence, I believe. Yeah, Fighting and Intelligence. So, Beast, obviously Magic himself. Definitely Gambit because of the extra energy. Hawkeye. Rocket, Scarlet, I think I already passed Magic. Squirrel Girl, Magic, and whoever you can pick next, you can just choose. So these would be the characters that I would choose, or obviously because I just did. I guess Luke Cage for the extra durability. But these are the characters that I would probably go for if you don't have them. The reason why is because of all those extra stats, especially the intelligence attribute and the fighting attribute. That'll give you 8% damage increase. Squirrel Girl for the boss damage. Scarlet Witch for the extra bit of damage over time. Rocky Raccoon and Magic for the 10% summon bonus. Obviously you want Dr.Strange for his magic damage. I went with Hawkeye and Luke Cage as the last 2, and Gambit as the last 3, because I mean Gambit's synergy is really good because that means you get an increase in your pool, your resource pool, and the resource cost is less too. And then Luke Cage for durability, you take less damage, kind of. You get more damage reduction, not damage reduction, but like defense and more health. And then for Hawkeye, I mean, you get that 3% crit damage, so that's always good to have. So for the infinity points, I put 22 points into my crit damage, so what's called mental focus, and then I put 4 points into fighting. So now if you don't have 25 points, I would highly recommend putting points into the mental focus, strike through, probably against all odds, or inner resilience. Definitely micro warps or gravity well if you're trying to go for more defense. And yeah, those are the only ones I would go for. Now onto my gear. So as you can see, I am in cosmic gear. Like normally, most of my characters are in cosmic because of the boxes I open. But what I do is I normally just open like a few, maybe like 3 or 4 boxes, and then I just slap on whatever gear that I have that is pretty decent. But yeah, so none of these cosmic gears are actually good at all. My stats are pretty low. I'm using Nuts of the Squirrel because of the +3 fighting, the summon power damage, and the crit hit. Amulet of Agamotto, or the advanced Amulet of Agamotto, because of the +1%, +1 intelligence, and also the magic powers and defense rating increase. And then also, when your health drops below 50%, negate half of all incoming damage for 10 seconds. Maximum of 6,000 damage taken. And then I'm using the 9 heads because you get the +3 intelligence, +2 energy. I didn't really care too much about. It would have been nice if I got something with fighting or just a better artifact. So I'm honestly not really using any of the good artifacts. I'm just using artifacts that really increase my base damage. Complete Relic of Gibberim is what I'm using because it gave me more mana. Also the +1 to all attributes, which is really good. For my catalyst, my cosmic catalyst, I don't have a great catalyst at all, really, because it doesn't even give me my main attribute. It gives me durability. The health is nice from both durability and the actual health. It gives me range power, which is good. The cosmic affix, I guess, is good, but I don't use my signature on this build, so it doesn't really matter for this character. It would have been better if I got the one for that applies a shield. The mystical bonus, 10% chance on hit for your enemies to be charmed by mystical energies for 10 seconds. That's not bad. It's fairly decent. I'm using my Malekith medallion, which heals me. When you hit with a magic power, gain 150 health. Honestly, I wouldn't really go for the Malekith medallion. I would go for a summoner medallion, or Castless medallion, or Curse, maybe. I think maybe Curse. I don't know. Probably not. But, something that can give you more damage with magic, or more damage for summons. Because you don't really need Malekith's medallion at all for Doctor Strange, because he has his shield of or whatever, that his rapid healing. His shield, the cooldown on it, it's actually fairly quick, so you can use that and heal yourself pretty often. And then for my legendary item, I'm using the Warlock's Eye. Definitely the best option in my opinion for him, or for most magic users. For his stats, I have 31,842 average effective health, 33% damage reduction, which is pretty good. My crit hit is 1927, 3739 crit damage, 422 brutal strike, which is terrible, 2142 brutal damage, which is also terrible, and 108% base damage. So the only good thing here is the base damage being at 108%. If you're in full purple, even full blue gear, you would have higher crit hit and crit brutal strike. But if you're in full purple gear and you're pretty well optimized, you can definitely hit higher. You can go like 2500 crit hit, 80% and higher base damage, maybe about 2,000 brutal strike and about 2,000, like 2,500 plus crit damage and brutal damage. So just in case you guys did not realize or don't know what stats to go for first on any character really, I would focus on base damage first, then crit hit, and then brutal strike, and then crit damage and brutal damage later. So now I'm going to show you the abilities and what they all do. For X, just your common ability, this is what it does. For square, it's a nice little burst damage right there. Triangle, summons the tendrils and summons the ice golem. Circle, and then L2 square summons a shield on me and nearby allies. And then L2 triangle, I can summon up to 2 of these, and it does explosive and it summons the golems or whatever they're called. L2X does nice damage over time right there. So there's no real rotation. The cooldowns on all these abilities are actually really quick, so you really don't have a rotation with this. I guess if you were to say there was a rotation or you want an actual rotation, I would pop both of your summons right away. So if you can, use your summons. Oh, and also, so you see above the blue bar, my mana bar, right above my health. So there's a white bar right above the blue bar. That's your I forget what it's called. That is your mystic energy. So once that white bar fills up all the way, so you have to be using abilities for it to for your thing to get filled up all the way. Not your primary abilities, but your actual abilities. So as you can see, it's filled up all the way. So now I can summon any ability I want. I can just keep spamming it until I run out. So that's, you want to make sure you keep an eye on that. So I think that's basically everything. Hopefully this build helped you out. If it does, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe. I mean, I'm only like 5 or 4 subscribers away from 500, so you can go ahead and help me out for me to peak at 500 subs, you know. Go ahead and leave a comment down in the comment section to tell me, you know, if there's any artifacts that you know that is good for Dr. Strange. And yeah, so this is all day any day one on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.